we are bringing in Alex Toth's other team of sci-fi adventurers into the mix. And so we're having Space Ghost and the Herculoids kicking off for a 5-issue event.
Nice.
And that's going to lead us into Space Ghost season 3.
Yeah.
And so I'm so excited for this event. I'm about halfway through writing it now.
Okay.
And this is Jonathan Lau and I sort of first big swing at longer form storytelling. We've primarily done in ones and done in twos with the big.
He's been with you from the very first issue.
Very beginning. He hasn't taken a break. He's had no fill-ins. The man draws like a damn Terminator. He can draw 2 books in a month. He's doing that currently right now because I have a baby on the way and he needs to keep him fed. But yeah, this is sort of a 5-part event. This is a big swing because we knew spending 2 years introducing Space Ghost and the twins, we weren't going to be able to replicate that here. And so I wanted the Herculoids introduction in our series to be the biggest possible swing. We're building on what Tom Zagowski did in his 10-issue run. We are leaving some of his plot threads for him to pick up if and when he returns to the series. But I've sort of taken what he's given me, and then I watched all the episodes of the original Herculoids and the Space Stars revival to build kind of like the same backstory and mythology that we did for Space Ghost. For those who aren't familiar with the Herculoids, imagine if Conan the Barbarian lived in space. He married Shanna the She-Devil. Their son was like the tween version of like the Disney's Tarzan, and then they hung out with 5 interstellar kaiju to fight invaders and pirates and industrialists looking to pillage their ecosystem. That's the Herculoids. It's the story of Xandor, who in our mythology was raised as a gladiator of kyanite. He fought in pits side by side with his loyal battle beast, the living tank Tundro. And the Emperor actually was so threatened by Xandor that he sicked his enslaved protoplasm Gloop to try to kill them. And it would have succeeded if not for the intervention of the daughter of the village elder, Tara, who has been moonlighting as a freedom fighter, and she liberates the pits. And so she basically frees Xandor and Tundro and Gloop using the help of Zoc the Star Dragon and her trusted rock ape, Igu. And basically teaches Xandor that like Amzot is a free world and there's more to it than blood and death. There's real beauty here and it's worth fighting for. And so Xandor's sort of trajectory has been a second chance. He's found new purpose as a defender of Amzot from threats from both within and without. And he's built a family with Tara. They've had their son Dorno. And in this act of like alien camaraderie, even Gloop, the protoplasm that once tried to kill Xandor, splits off into a smaller clone named Gleep to serve as this young boy's basically loyal dog. And so the Herculoids are kind of this like amazing family story. And it was one that I thought was a perfect contrast to the found family story of Space Ghost. Is that, it's a widower and 2 orphans, whereas this is a little bit more of a traditional family. If you, and then you have the kaiju in there. So I love kind of exploring the different contrasts between these characters. Space Ghost is a superhero, at his core. His mission is to defend the defenseless. At the same time, though, he operates outside of the law as a vigilante. He recognizes there's corruption in the Galactic Patrol. But I think Space Ghost still respects the spirit of the law. He defends the Galactic Federation. He is ultimately a defender of the status quo. Whereas the Herculoids are completely the opposite. They've been on their own. For them, Amzot is their universe. And so they are firmly anti-establishment, because what has the establishment ever done besides try to enslave them? And that's their mission, is rather than defending the defenseless, the Herculoids mission is a little more pointed than that. They're trying to protect people from enslavement and exploitation. If they have to kill somebody, it's not their go-to move, but they're not going to lose sleep if it happens.
Yeah.
And so that adds a little, those missions are similar, but with some core differences that cause a lot of friction between these two characters. And the hinge that the Herculoids really kind of, the axis that they spin around is a mineral called quazarite. For those who watched the original Herculoids cartoon, they had something in their slingshots called energy rocks. They were glowing rocks that would explode on impact. But watching an episode called The Purple Menace, I realized I could extrapolate that that quazarite is an element, this raw conduit of cosmic energy, has basically pushed all the mutations on the planet Amzot. It's triggered all this mutated hyperfauna and hyperflora. And also the Herculoids and Xandor and Tara and Dorno, based on their own unique physiology, they've been metabolizing quazarite their entire lives. So it's given them enhanced speed and strength and durability to go toe-to-toe with somebody like Space Ghost. Of course, something like quazarite that can power ships and cities and weapons and bombs, that's not going to stay hidden forever. And when somebody makes a grab for it, when somebody stomps in on Amzot looking for quazarite, it's going to trigger a domino effect that's going to put Xandor and his Herculoids in the warpath. And so you're going to see that's going to put them on a collision course with Space Ghost and company. So I love, writing Space Ghost. I love, I love injecting different types of genre DNA. And I love Herculoids. They've got the science fantasy into the sci-fi superhero. But I also do love playing the hits. I love doing the classic superhero tropes. And so the superhero misunderstanding into a team up was something I've always wanted to write. This felt like the perfect opportunity to really kind of establish Xandor and the Herculoids bona fides by showing that they can hang with Space Ghost. So it's been a really fun blockbuster. It's the biggest action that Jonathan and I have done to date.
That's cool.
This series. Jonathan has really made these characters his own, not just the Herculoids themselves, but also just the characters. I mean, Tara is a very important character, I think, in Herculoids mythology, because she's the one who gave Xandor his second chance. She's the one who gave him a family and a purpose. And seeing the pages of the two of them together, you can feel like some heat coming from the inks. Like, those two are into each other. I didn't know Jonathan had it in him. It's very Leonidas and Gorgo from the movie 300. And that's been so much fun with the Herculoids. Is on the one hand, you've got this group of characters that are mostly pantomime. It's all action. It's expression work. It's a lot of it's in Jonathan's hands. But then the human characters themselves, Xandor and Tara, they've got a little bit of heightened poetry to their speech. It's a little like Conan the Barbarian from when I wrote him in Savage Avengers. And so it's been kind of fun, exploring this character who, he comes from these dangerous jungles, but he sees our civilization as somehow more savage than the world he comes from. And maybe he's not wrong, So we've got some really fun villains from both camps also appearing in this. We've got the Evil Collector, who's sort of a brainiac of Space Ghost mythology. He likes to shrink people and feed them to his mutant cat. We've sort of reinterpreted him as the chief warden of the Galactic Federation, that he's been tasked with sort of keeping the worst of the galaxy under wraps. So he wears the name the Evil Collector as sort of a badge of honor. Of course, his name is the Evil Collector, so he does have some ulterior motives. And then on the Herculoid side, we have Meccano, the Machine Man, who's sort of the Evil Collector's like enslaved android lieutenant. And the two of them together, they are going to make for kind of a formidable threat to Space Ghost and the Herculoids. But it's really fun kind of mixing and matching the two. We're going to see the Herculoids traversing urban environments. We're going to see Space Ghost and company dealing with the dangers in the jungles of Amzot. It's really fun kind of getting to bring these two mythologies together. And we will be seeing more of the Herculoids in Space Ghost Volume 3.
Nice.
So we're going to be expanding Space Ghost universe as big as we can. Right now, Jonathan and I, we're still hammering out the exact runway. I believe right now we are committed to 44. My goal is to get us to 50. So write your congressman, tell me you want 50 issues. I would love to do that. I will say I've already outlined the last arc of the series.
Yeah.
So we know how the whole thing is going,
Nice.
where it's going. It's just a matter of sort of what's the runway building towards it.